The National Economic Council, NEC, has launched the Nutrition 774 initiative. Well, 774. Well, I suppose you know where that is going. And this is aimed at ensuring that all mothers and children have access to life-saving nutrition interventions. The initiative is aimed at delivering life-saving nutrition across Nigeria's 774 local government areas. Now, to give us more details about this initiative, I'd like to welcome Dr. Sanjo Faniran, who is National Convener and Director of the Social Development Office, Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, who joins us from our studio in Abuja. Dr. Faniran, good morning.
Good morning, madam.
Thank you for joining us today. Yes, initiative, Nutrition 774 initiative. And I see that this is to provide life-saving nutrition in all the 774 local governments of Nigeria. That seems to be a tall task.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, Dr. Faniran, this is going to involve a lot of logistics, I would think. How do you intend to achieve this?
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, like you rightly said, the Nutrition 774, you know, we have 774 local governments in Nigeria. That's why it's tagged Nutrition 774. But, you know, for whatever intervention that the government is doing, if it does not go to the grassroots level, we are only deceiving ourselves. And this initiative is actually it's coming from the Nutrition Council, the Nutrition Council chaired by the Vice President. That means the initiative is for the presidency. And we look at it that it is easy for people at the local government level to reach out to the people at the grassroots level. So if we say if the federal government want to achieve the best, the only way out of it is to scale down intervention to local government level and supervision and coordination by the local governments, because they are the ones that are very close to the people. And we have a structure on ground because we have, the National Council on Nutrition has a 5-pillar strategy that want to decentralize coordination of any intervention, particularly in nutrition. So we also want to make sure that we have data and accountability for whatever we are doing on that. And then the financing, the government is interested in cascading financing to the grassroots level, and they are not taking that for granted. So, and when we say that even the government resources, the development partners, the private sector, if those resources are pulled together, then cascading nutrition intervention to local government become an easier thing. So it's not a difficult thing to do because we already have a strategic approach to doing that. We are also looking at prioritizing nutrition. Those are the 5 pillars of the Nutrition Council of Nigeria, and then scaling nutrition down, and nutrition intervention, scaling it down to the grassroots level, the local government. Then from local government, they will go to community, the community to ward, then from ward to various household level. This thing is very easy if it is well administered, and we are working, seriously to make sure that at least whichever way we want to implement, we no doubt achieve the desired results.
Okay, Doctor,
Thank you.
What exactly do you mean by life-saving nutrition interventions? What kinds of things or foods are you going to be giving to these women and these children?
You know, when we talk of nutrition, we are looking at healthy diets. And when you talk of healthy diet, you know, the greatest asset that a country will have is to explore the opportunities, the potentials that are available in the economy. We have those two potentials. We have the potential we have in the economy. We have the potential that we have in our people. And the only thing that can make us to achieve this is healthy diets and nutrition, healthy diet and nutrition. So most of the life-saving intervention, we all know it. For instance, Nigeria, when you look at, the statistics of those children that are stunting, those that are wasting, so they are not encouraging. But if the right meal, if the right diet are given to children, you see there's no problem. Even adults, I want to assure you that the first 1,000 days of a child matters a lot. And if the right type of food is given to a child, it has a lot of implication on the development of that child, and even with also translating to economic growth and development. Because human capital development require healthy diet. An healthy diet will enable children to grow the right way, the way they are supposed to. In terms of, there are so many things that are attached to healthy diet. There are so many things that are attached to nutrition. So a nutritious child, a child with a good nutrition, will definitely be able to achieve, to fulfill his or her potential, and even including, the adults. You see a lot of challenges we're having in the country now. Many people are diabetic because of their lack of healthy diet. Many people are having the hypertension, stroke, so many things. So many things are embedded in the poor attitude to diet. So the basic diet that is required for children, for women, for adults, for everybody is actually, embedded in some of these that you have actually mentioned. Thank you.
Doctor, we are told that Nigeria has one of the highest numbers of stunted children in Africa. There are approximately 10 million such children in Nigeria. I will ask that question again. You just said that you're going to give them nutritious food. What kinds of food fall in this category, which you're going to give to these children to stem this tide of stunted children in our country?
You see, yeah, let me take you through the recent emergency efforts that the government has made. Let's first of all talk of vitamin A. A large number of children lack vitamin A. All the necessary vitamins required that can give the required dietary requirement for children are actually not available, particularly for those that are in the rural community. And even for some that are poor in the urban city, they don't have the means of getting the right type of food. And that is why government consider it important to increase intervention in some of these dietary requirements for children, particularly for children and for women. And the essence of it is to reduce the stunting rate. This, like you said now, the indicators that we're having now are not encouraging. There are some level of, projection that we have, particularly for 2025, right from the NDHS 2018 baseline, which will have 37%. Then we were now expecting by 2025, we're expecting about 18%. But today, the NDHS, the report we have, the preliminary report we have in 2024 for 2023 survey, at 40%, which has actually increased. Whereas the National Food Consumption and Micronutrients Survey gave us 33.8% in 2021. So most of the dietary requirements that are not available due to poverty, due to so many factors, are actually, I mentioned vitamin A, there are so many things. You see, when we talk of vitamin A, a lot of food requirements produce vitamin A. If a woman is breastfeeding a child, if the woman does not have the right diet, it's a problem, because the right diet will enable the baby to have the right intake from the mother. And even most of those supplements that are necessary for effective growth of a child are not, actually available to the poor ones. But government is actually trying at all costs. And that's why you see that this N774 will definitely enable government to have a clear opportunity to cascade some of these innovation, some of this intervention, some of this requirement to the grassroots level. But that can only be done through the local government. The states are also involved because the states, the state work with local government will work with the community. So it is this collaborative approach and bottom-up approach that we are actually looking at to enable us cascade some of these supplements that will enable the children to grow the right direction.
Doctor, this is
at that, I mean, before age 5 and even before the first 1,000 days that they are born.
This is a huge project. How is this all going to be funded?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, no, that's a right question. You know, if we are looking at funding, we will not move. But the fact remains that there's nothing government put on grant. There's no innovation, there's no initiative that is put on grant that does not have preliminary plan. For instance, government is determined to put resources in nutrition. Nutrition is now prioritized. It's prioritized in such a way that the government has even, the federal government has encouraged all, let's say, all relevant stakeholder MDs at federal and state to have nutrition departments. We are also having that one now at the local government level. So in terms of funding, the government will put money. Then our development partners have also been encouraged to also prioritize funding and divert some of their support to nutrition in Nigeria. We also encourage, working with the private sector. For instance, when we were planning the launch of N774, all of them were brought on board. They are already aware of what we want to do. Dangote Foundation was there. We are working with the bill. All those, the philanthropists, they are there and they are ready to support the initiative. Meanwhile, government also has budgetary provision to cascade this, to prosecute this initiative, and even local government level. So a lot of, at the local government will also prioritize funding for nutrition. So when each levels of government prioritize the funding, you see that the idea, what matters most now is the implementation. The implementation has been structured in such a way that the governance structure is made in a way that we have technical working group that we work at the grassroots, at the local government level, and then we also have at the national level. And we are working based on the standard operating procedure, which has been developed. That standard operating procedure has some focus that we will actually want to achieve, and we will not compromise it. And we are also developing an evaluation framework that will enable us to track intervention, resources provided for for nutrition. So in terms of resource, in terms of funding, the government is ready to prioritize nutrition, and a lot of resources will go into funding nutrition, both at the national and subnational levels. And the subnational level, as the basis, local government is very, very key, because we want to do a bottom-up approach where initiative is decentralized. When it is localized, the people at the grassroots level, they are much more, they are conscious of the reason why government is bringing some opportunities to them, and they are not taking it for granted. So I believe that we follow up with the collaboration of the government, the development partners, and the private sector. Funding N774 will not be a problem in Nigeria. Thank you.
You know, interestingly, I was going to ask about the involvement of the locals, and that's exactly what you just talked about. So I'd like you to expatiate a little further on it, because most of the time when these initiatives come from the federal government, it will sound like we don't have ownership of it. It didn't come from us. It's like we are just being ordered to do this, and hey, we are an autonomous, quote and unquote, autonomous government by ourselves, so we should be able to do the things that we want the way we want to do it. So is there any historical antecedents or perspectives that compels any local government, for instance, or even a state government, to take on this N774 initiative? Yes, it was something approved by the National Economic Council, which has all state governors, but it's not the first time. Issues will arise from that level, and it'll be still birthed.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, I agree with you. Nigeria is a federation. There are 3 tiers of governments, and each of the tiers are independent of one another. But nevertheless, when it comes to reality, all of us are moving together. And that is why you see that even the launch of the Nutrition 774 was actually done with all the 37 governors, the 36 governors, plus the FCT minister. I mean, that's what makes it 37. So, and the buy-in of the governors were actually, I mean, it was pronounced. The buy-in of the private sector was pronounced. The buy-in of the development partners are pronounced. So, in terms of implementation, you know, once there is a structure, we already have a structure, a governance structure that will make everybody that is necessary, all relevant stakeholders, to be on board. For instance, we have a technical committee both at the state level and local government level. We have at the federal level. The nutrition policy that we have in Nigeria is clear. It's a policy. When we say a policy is national, it means that policy was jointly developed by the federal, state, and local government. For the Nutrition 774, since inception, the local government have been carried along. For instance, during the launch about 2 days ago, you see that the president of Argon, national president of Argon, was there at the villa. I mean, at the National Economic Council, where they launched it, and he made his commitment. The chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum also made his commitment. And all these commitments are actually being made on behalf of the stakeholders within that community, within that ecosystem. Then if the president of Argon made commitment, he made it on behalf of all the local governments in Nigeria. If our development partners have made commitment, they made it on behalf of all development partners in Nigeria. And we also have the development partners group that are specifically focusing on nutrition. Then we also have the private sector. They have committed into it. So I don't think there can be any crisis of who owns what. It is a joint initiative. It is a joint venture. It is something that we are going to handle to implement jointly. And we are having the same structure for implementation, both at the federal,
at the end of the day, Dr. Faniran, my apologies.
At the federal level, we have National Committee of Food and Nutrition.
Yeah. At the end of the day, Dr. Faniran, it all comes down to the people. There is history in this country where wonderful initiatives, are, brought from the very top or from whatever level of government, but they do not really cascade down to the people. And the people reject those initiatives. It's happened before. So what's the communication strategy to ensure that we're not just telling people what to do, we're actually giving them an opportunity to own the process so it is sustainable?
Like we have launched the initiative now, and in the course of even validating the standard operational procedure that I want to use, we invited all stakeholders, both at the state, the local government, and even at the federal. Even the legislators, they were part of this, this validation of the standard operating procedure. If we have this, that means everybody is being carried along. Now the document has been launched. The initiative has been launched. And I can assure you that we are not going to stay only at the point of launching. We are now going to start unbundling the implementation arrangement, which is already on ground, and which all stakeholders are carried along, both at the local government level, the state level, and the federal level, and the private sector, and our development partners, the donors. So that will tell you that we are using a collaborative approach to make sure that nobody is left behind. Everybody is involved. And I can assure you, and I can guarantee you, that by the time we start the implementation, for instance now, anyway from now, we are going to make sure that we also do a sort of sensitization and socialization at the zonal level. That one will bring most of our traditional rulers also on board, so that when everybody understands what we want to do, you see that everybody will rise up to, because nutrition is something that doesn't stop on children or women alone. Adults, a lot of challenges, health challenges are moving around. If we are all rise to this issue of nutrition, you see that there is no problem. So everybody is interested. It's only people where people don't have the knowledge, when people don't have what it takes to be educated on the right type of diet or the dietary requirement and healthy diet that is required for healthy living. And healthy living, where you have good health and good nutrition and good health, then you are increasing the potential. Human capital capacity is being enhanced in any country. For the good workforce, you need good health, you need good education.
Indeed.
And you need healthy diet for people to say that, their potentials can be fully developed, their potentials can be fully utilized, and which is for the health of the nation, for economic growth and development. You need healthy human capital.
Indeed.
And everybody is interested in carrying this thing forward.
Okay.
I assure you that when it comes to making it, socializing it or making it popular, we have a lot of framework that we have on ground that we enable every Nigerian to be adequately informed and carried along and be involved even in making sure that we have a good nutrition outcome in Nigeria.
Okay. All we can do now is to wish you all the best, and we hope that you will drop by from time to time to give us a progress report on how this is all going. Thank you very much, Dr. Sanjo Faniran, National Convener and Director of the Social Development Office, Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning. Thank you very much. We do appreciate your time this morning. Sunrise will return, and we shall be looking at the lifestyle segment. Blood donation. There are benefits to it. Can you believe that? See you in a moment.